Welcome back to the news at 10. Development projects in Adamawa State can be fast-tracked with the establishment of a trust fund if the government is to meet the aspirations of the people. That's the suggestion of the wife of the president, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, who maintains that the 21st century governance is driven by people with a high sense of commitment and capacity for transforming their society. Mrs. Buhari, who spoke at a town hall meeting in Yola, the state capital, says though the trust fund prioritized projects can be financed and implemented to complement the efforts of government.
Since the introduction of democratic governance in Nigeria and the creation of Adamawa State on the 27th of August 1987, the state has largely remained a rural state in spite of abundant human and natural resources at its disposal. It is for this reason that a progressive town hall meeting is holding in Yola, the Adamawa state capital, at the instance of the wife of the president, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, in collaboration with a group of concerned citizens of the state. The wife of President Muhammadu Buhari highlights the reason behind her advocacy for a state trust fund.
Elections have come and gone, but the Adamawa state as it is appears to be at the crossroads. The recent political developments in the state before and after the elections have left people in the state of uncertainty about the future of the state. I would like to advocate for the establishment of Adamawa State Trust Fund, through which prioritized developmental projects can be financed and implemented and checked as well.
Other key speakers at the event identify the challenges confronting the state and the way forward.
At this point, I want to recommend that please, with the resources of our land, water, and favorable climate conditions in Adamawa State, we should concentrate on developing irrigation facilities so that we can farm all year round in Adamawa State.
My one suggestion is for a working group, a small working group to be formed that will do a needs assessment of all these areas of indices. Human indices of development is critical. In the area of security, please, government, assist the security agencies.
Governor Mohammed Jibrila of Adamawa State, who is represented by his deputy, applauds the wife of the president for organizing such a meeting.
Your Excellency, as the mother of the nation, and as a visibly concerned daughter of Adamawa State, inviting a gathering of our people to interact and forge a better future for the state is indeed a highly commendable initiative. It is clear that you have resolved that the only destination for Adamawa State is the next level.
At the end of the meeting, Mrs. Aisha Buhari appeals to the incoming administration for an all-inclusive government that will serve as a unifying factor. She also used the occasion to announce her plan to establish Muhammadu Buhari University in collaboration with Sudan and Qatar.
Thatch roofs are beginning to make a comeback in our homes, bars, and even in hotels, among others, due to its cool, natural, organic feel. Allowing a thatch roof in the early days was reserved for those who could not afford metal and clay. But today, it does not only make an aesthetic statement, but employs the help of a lot of young people. Our community report tonight takes a look at the trend in Enugu State, southeast Nigeria.
When it comes to housing designs and building sustainable roofs with African materials, it's hard to get more natural than this. Building a thatch was reserved only for those who couldn't afford a metal roof, wood shingles, clay roof, amongst others. Today, the thatch is gradually making a comeback. Residential areas, restaurants, beer bars now wear the aesthetic of thatch with a cool, natural, organic feel.
This is natural to us in Africa and has very good benefits and it's a dying something, so it's good that we keep it up. So in my garden, Lave garden, I definitely want something that is so beautiful, because the grass is very beautiful, and it actually acts like a natural air conditioner. When you are in there, it's cooler than when you're under the zinc.
Reeds, the main materials for building thatch roofs, are easily sourced from several villages in a Pt.3 local government area of Enugu State due to the topography of the area. "27-year-old Ozemena, a young graduate of agriculture, makes his journey up to the mountain very early in the morning with two of his brothers. They are reed collectors who make a living from it.
It is now used for bush bar, that is for business. The rich men will now have to build house and would want to build it in their own compound. So the whole narrative have changed. We now decided to use it to make some sort of income for us to eat, for us to go to school, for us to... So that is when we started cutting it for sales.
Ozemena says the work is time-consuming and very risky, which is why they go out before sunrise.
We are forced to wake up early in the morning, as early as 5:30 to meet up so that avoid the harsh sun. We walk to the mountain just like as we are here now, so that we'll be able to cut as many as possible. And sometimes we have the risk of reptiles attacking us. That's why we wear these shoes. That's why so many other things. Sometimes when after cutting it, your body will be itching you, your hand, everything. So there are so many disadvantages that we'll find, but we don't have option.
Living us has been a thatcher for about 15 years. It takes him about a day or two to finish a roof, depending on the dimension. And in a month, he gets up to 5 clients.
So I've been traveling all over, even in Imo State, Abuja, Lagos State, and in short, I'm traveling around the country because of this job. The job has helped me at least to have a comfortable house, take care of my family and my own personal self.
Reed harvesting is usually done between December and January when it's dry and dormant, which at the time stands the risk of being razed down by indiscriminate bush burning.
It's difficult for them to get these things, so government should also help in passing laws against bush burning. Okay, because when these hills are burnt, the raw material is not there. And if these young people don't find the raw material, they can't possibly build.
For every reed collector who wakes up every morning by 5 to go to this mountain to harvest reeds and bring them out here on the road for sale, his needs are simple. 1, that the buyer pays enough money to make up for the risks and time involved, and for relevant authorities to provide them with equipment that will make their job easy. For the thatcher on the roof, he would want to see civil engineers and architects come up with designs and fire-resistant coating that will make the roof more durable, attractive, and lucrative. From Pt.3 local government area, Nkiru Ajogu, Channels Television News.
To the south now. 23 years after the creation of Bayelsa State's Yenagoa, the state capital is yet to have a functional water distribution channel. This has resulted in the lack of potable water in the state capital, forcing residents to rely on water vendors or private borehole owners for water supply. Our correspondent, Dobra Timiwood, reports that this reliance on the unstructured private sector for the water needs of the people has had its attendant effect on the financial and health status of residents.
Bayelsa State is surrounded by water but lacks potable water. These water vendors, locally referred to as Merua, are the major distribution channel of water for residents of Yenagoa.
Over time, the jerrycans themselves become reservoirs, and vectors for carrying waterborne diseases, which are predominant in our environment. We have seen of course, things like diarrhea is a recurrent despite, especially amongst children, and diarrhea is a large killer of children, especially children under the age of 5.
Glory Ibezim is unemployed, yet she has to part with about 21,000 naira monthly to enable her provide water for her family.
Pump no rush. And the job month and I saw it there since that 2 years up to now, nothing happened. Water na buy would they buy for borehole and I would they buy the water. Sometimes they spend more than 600 to 700. And when I want wash cloth, they spend up to 700 or 600 to fetch water from that place.
Few years ago, these abandoned trucks once ignited hope in Bayelsans, as they were bought by the present administration, who at the time said, water will be distributed to every household and the trucks will replace the local vendors. The Commissioner for Water Resources, Nengi Talbot, speaks to us.
The schemes that were installed in several locations, crisscrossing from the down Yenagua to Igbogene, about 20 locations or thereabout, with GP tanks. So what we do was is to harvest water in the night when there's light, because all our gensets are bad. All the 2 major gensets are bad. So my pumpers will be on an end. They won't sleep if there's water. Light in the night, they harvest water into the tankers and we supply. But what we came to realize is that most of those tankers, the tanks have been removed in their various locations that they are installed. And because of lack of maintenance, the trucks that are inherited, I think one was functioning, but now they are all grounded.
Residents are still waiting for the activation of the promise. Dobra Timiwood, Channels Television News.
And now to the arts. Senses is an exhibition by Sylvester Aguda, who set out to awaken the human consciousness to the beauty of the arts. Let's see what that's all about in Arts Review.
Contemporary artist Sylvester Aguda is not just making and serving exquisite cocktail to his guests with attention to details.
The whole objective is to make sure that I bring my audience into an atmosphere where I can evoke their senses, make them not just enjoy seeing what they come to view, but to go a step further to make them feel. I want them to taste. Talking about taste, I've been able to prepare some special cocktails with African blends of herbs and spices made by myself. So today I'm the bartender for my hosts. I want them, for my host and my friends, I want people to come in, not just to come and see artworks, but to also have a feel of African taste.
That's just scratching the surface, because the big picture is to pamper their senses with these works of art, which is a sight for sore eyes.
You come in here and you see something that's a bit unusual, something a bit different, away from the everyday paintings, acrylic on canvas and all that. Here you have collage, you have works that are like two-dimensional. So it makes you inquisitive, you want to see further. Unlike most times, we will not want to avail people the opportunity to touch artworks. But here, for once at least, let people have a feel. People can touch, they can feel the artworks and see what goes into it.
It's more than just a pretty painting, as this solo show called Senses has been put together to satisfy the curiosity of the mind about the art. So, beyond the visual appeal, the audience get to use their other senses, touch, feel, smell, and taste the joy creativity brings. And for those wondering how that happens, the artist explains.
For hearing, we have some nice music on the background. You come here, the place smells nice, the place smells art, So all your 5 senses are awake, and then maybe if you have the 6th sense, which is thought, it also provokes that as well. So that's what sense is all about. Come in here, enjoy the views, see beautiful artworks, talking about Africa, telling African stories, the Nigerian story. Not only that, taste something that was made from Nigeria. The recipe I have is a secret recipe. That was what I use in winning my wife's heart.
After all said and done, Sylvester Aguda expects his audience to leave here with a new sense of understanding about art.
Still ahead of the news at 10, Nigeria's Golden Eagles to play Guinea in the semi-finals of the Under-17 African Cup of Nations. We'll have more in sports news. Please join us again.